It's a rainy day, and down here I'm just pouring myself a cup of coffee because I love coffee on a rainy day. My grind might have been a little too coarse. This might be a bit weak, but that's okay. It's late in the day. Oh no, that's nice. I like that. So today on HTD, we're talking about rainy day drinks. Why? Because my daughter told me it was a good idea for an episode a couple weeks ago, and I didn't think she was right, and then I slept on it, and then she brought it up again the other day, and I was like, that is a good idea for an episode. And so that's it. Today we're doing rainy day drinks on how to drink coffee. I made it. Here we go. There are definitely rainy day drinks, right?
I was just going to ask, what is a rainy day drink?
Well, you know what a rainy day is.
And then that's why I didn't ask, because I thought, you know what, I do know.
You want to go to a coffee house, you want to drink some coffee, maybe have a little pastry, listen to some Susan Vega. I am looking in the window of the diner on the corner. Fucking love that song. I'll listen to that song on a loop all day long. That is my jam. It's got to be a drink that you can stare into and really lose yourself in. That's a rainy day drink. So I got my rainy day sweater on. I think that my first rainy day drink's gonna be a hot toddy, or actually the way that I make it is a whiskey skin, but that is, I'm splitting hairs on that definition. The way I make a hot toddy is the way that Jerry Thomas describes making a hot toddy in the 1865 Bartender's Guide, and it's a very simple drink. It's not complicated, it has no ginger in it. It's just sort of like a woodsy, kind of nice, hot bourbon-y thing. But it's not like the hot toddy you're used to. And if you like that, you all convinced me to do an episode all about that. Not too long ago. I'm going to put a link right down there. I'm going to put a link right up here. Check that out. Those are some good hot toddies too. But this episode, I'm just making things the way that I like them. And I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to make this one with Yellowstone bourbon. 2 ounces of my bourbon. Ah, yes. You can pick this up at Curiata, at drink.curiata.com. And I get a little piece of the action. We have an affiliate program with them. It helps the show. And it helps Curiata, who are cool people. Now I want to throw in some sugar. Yeah, you can make this with simple. I'm very, very low on simple, and I didn't want to slow down production to go make some. So since it's a hot drink with water in it, we can just use some sugar. I'm going to do, I don't know, 2 bar spoons is probably enough. Where'd my jiggery-doo go? Where's my jigger? I just had the fucking thing. There, do you see a jigger around here? What?
Oh, yes. Okay. Your tin right there?
Aha! So we're going to add 3 ounces of hot water to it. Use a jigger with a handle if you're going to measure this, or just eyeball it. A little spoon action. That's a hot toddy courtesy of 1865. I made mine with bourbon. A mildly smoky scotch is phenomenal here too. And I find that to be delicious. I really love that. That is so good. That one actually came out a little sweet. I didn't think that there was that much sugar in a bar spoon of sugar. Maybe 1 would be fine. The heat in general brings out all kinds of other flavors from the whiskey or bourbon that you use that you don't get in a cold drink. And to me, it doesn't really need any more adornment. I like it. A lot of people want ginger. They want lemon in their hot toddy. That's what it's about for them. This is the version I fell in love with. Or tea. A lot of people put tea in it. I don't know. I think that the less is more with this, personally. I really do. Hot water, bourbon, and a little simple, or some sugar. Sooner I can sit down with a good book, or maybe a watercolor I've been working on, better. Now, there is one addition to this that I really like. Once you do this, and I know this is so funny because it's adding 1 ingredient, now it's a whiskey skin. It's plenty lemony. That is, oh, it's a delight. The sugar combines with the bourbon to bring out a kind of a sweet, nutty flavor. Like, think pecans and maple syrup or something like that. Not that it tastes like maple syrup, but it is in that space. And then when you have that kind of highlighted with a little lemon in there, that lemon from the oils, now if it was lemon juice, it would overpower it. But you get plenty of fresh lemon, snappy flavor in there. Personally, I don't think you can beat this. And I think I did a comparison in that episode with the ginger hot toddy, and we did a Jeff Morgenthaler hot toddy. And those were very nice drinks. I personally still prefer this, which is great for me because it's super easy to make. I get it. Like, people like what they like, and honestly, I don't think there's a wrong way to make a hot toddy. If you're putting whiskey and hot together, you got a hot toddy. I mean, I'm in danger of drinking the whole damn thing. All right, right after this, we're gonna make a little Irish coffee. Welcome back. I was just taking a look at my favorite book by my favorite author, Red Harvest by Dashiell Hammett. I heard somebody just recently pronounce his name Dashiell, and I don't think that's true. I don't think that's right. I think it's Dashiell. It takes place in the aftermath of a bunch of Pinkertons putting down a mine strike and it's about Dashiell Hammett kind of working through his post-World War I angst about having been a Pinkerton and kind of having an awakening about that. Let's make an Irish coffee. This drink made famous at the Buena Vista in San Francisco. Once upon a time, I made it wrong on this show. Sorry about that. Today, we're gonna make it the right way. I've made it the right way on the show since. Put a link to it up there. There's a whole history of this drink. It was invented at an airport in Ireland, supposedly, to, calm the nerves of some people who had just landed and they were cold and rainy from a very harrowing experience on an airplane. Here we go. I'm gonna start with 4 ounces of my coffee, and I might moderate that if it looks like this glass isn't gonna take a whole 4 ounces. Yeah, I'm gonna go 3 ounces here. I think we wanna leave a little room. Leave a little room for the Lord. At the Buena Vista in San Francisco, where this is the signature drink, they use 2 Demerara sugar cubes. I don't have any Demerara sugar cubes. I'm gonna do something different, which is fine. I think this is the kind of thing you can play with for sure. I'm gonna do like a bar spoon of dark brown sugar and a little bit of plain sugar, but not too much. And then I'm gonna stir that in. Is that the same as Demerara? I don't think it's super far off. It might even be better. Now I'm gonna add some Irish whiskey, and the Irish whiskey that I'm choosing to use today is Green Spot. And why? Because I was going through my shelves and I forgot that I had this, and this is very good Irish whiskey. About 1.5 ounces. Oh, that's perfect. This is the tricky part. I'm gonna take some heavy cream and I'm gonna dry shake it. A lot of times when you dry shake something, you're frothing an egg and you're gonna shake the living daylights out of it. If you do that with this, you'll open this tin and you'll have butter. So don't do that. You just give it a little shaky shake. Here we go. We just want to aerate it a little bit, and I think honestly that's enough. Look at this, already. I'm actually gonna put a little bit more in there. And we're gonna pour this right across the surface of the drink. And honestly, they might have a trick for getting that just right, because mine is still very thick. And that is an Irish coffee. I don't know if my cream worked out the way it's supposed to. It is so rich. It tastes like coffee. I'm not gonna lie, the Irish whiskey does get maybe a little lost in there. I think it's this kind of bright note that shows up in the middle of the evolution. A little sharp, a little fresh, a little, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a little fresh cut grass. And then of course you got that cream that you're sipping through, which is just so decadently rich. The perfect rainy day drink. Do I like it better than my old whiskey skin? For my money, I still like the whiskey skin, but I think this is an excellent rainy day drink. I mean, it's, I don't know. What else are you gonna make on a rainy day? All right, so we've made a whiskey skin, we've made an Irish coffee, and right after this, we're gonna make hot buttered rum, but we're gonna use my own recipe for that one. I got a little twist on it. So stay tuned for the best hot buttered rum I think you'll ever have. I first heard Personville called Poisonville by a red-haired mucker named Hickey Dewey in The Big Ship in Butte. He also called a shirt a shoit. I didn't think anything of what he had done to the city's name. Later, I heard men who could manage their R's give it the same pronunciation. I still didn't see anything in it but the meaningless sort of humor that used to make Richardsonary the thieves' word for dictionary. A few years later, I went to Personville and learned better. Ooh, what an opening. Well, I'm back, and we're gonna take a look now at hot buttered rum. Hot buttered rum! I don't know why I felt the need to say it that way, but I did. The way to make hot buttered rum in the olden days, the way it was made, is with a lump of butter in some hot rum and some sugar, I think. There was like 1 or 2 other things in it. I had this idea a couple years back when we made an episode on hot buttered rum to, of course, do it that way, but also to just make it with some fat-washed rum, some brown butter fat-washed rum. And in the episode, which I'm gonna link to right now, you'll hear me say that this is shelf stable. And here's proof that it is. It's been sitting there on that shelf for like, what, 3 years now. And it's excellent. It smells like caramel. I got my Demerara sugar. You can make this with any sugar you want. I think brown sugar would make for a nice one as well. 2 bar spoons. Now I'm gonna add 2 ounces of my buttered rum. And if you wanna make this stuff, I have an episode all about it. You can see the recipe. It's gonna be right up here. Basically though, you brown up some butter. You make brown butter. You pour it into a bottle of rum, or vice versa, into some kind of vessel. You let it sit like for hours and hours. You put it in the freezer until the butter turns into a big frozen puck on top. You throw that away. Filter this buttered rum. 2 ounces. Now I need 4 ounces of hot water, and I should have been keeping my kettle hot, but I didn't. So now my water's hot. Sorry about that. 4 ounces of hot water. Here we go. Now I know why it wouldn't heat. It's out of water. So I didn't have any water in my kettle. That's why it wasn't working. It was user error. Greg is dumb. 4 ounces of hot water finally. There we go. I want to get my sugar dissolved. And I love star anise in a hot drink. All of my star anise is fractured and fucked up right now, so I'm just gonna throw a couple pieces in there and a cinnamon stick. And that's how I make a hot buttered rum. I know we put no butter in it at this point. We did the butter into the rum at an earlier date and time, and it's good. Oh my God, this is a drink that is divine. But because of the rum, it does have a brightness to it. There is a light note up here. Something about hot spirits tend to do that. But it's all bottom other than that. It is just this rich, decadent caramel, not caramel, butterscotch thing. And then you get this nose of star anise, which I love. It is a combo for the gods. It is one of my finer moments. Definitely makes the list of best rainy day drinks.
Oh, you bring that and gift that to someone?
Yeah, for real.
For Christmas? You put the work in?
Yeah, for real.
Teach them how to use it?
For real.
Yeah.
That's really good. The problem with it for me is that now that I remember how good it is and that I have it, it's not going to last. I'm going to drink this. It's getting colder. I might wait till fireplace season. That's going quick once it gets colder. Cinnamon brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than y'all. We made three, count them, 3 rainy day drinks. My daughter had a suggestion for a drink, so I'm going to make it right now. Think rainbows. Get rainbows after the rain. Put a little umbrella on it, rainbow drink with an umbrella, rainy day drink. So we're gonna do that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a Pousse Cafe. And I don't speak French, so I apologize. I'm sure I got that wrong. I made it, might sound vulgar. So Pousse Cafe was a thing that was popular like in the mid-1800s, right? And it's like super old school. It's not popular anymore. I have seen and found a bunch of articles saying, bring it back, we gotta bring it back. And it's layered drinks. And you're gonna say, oh, it's a layered shot, but you're not supposed to shoot it. The idea is that you have all these little liqueurs and Amaro or whatever you're going to use, mostly liqueurs, in the drink, and you layer them up, and you serve it with some coffee. And as you sit there with the coffee and the Pousse Cafe, you take a sip of this, a sip of that, and it changes, and it modifies the coffee, and you experience this whole evolving interplay between your Pousse Cafe and your coffee. So Bruce over at Bar Talks and Cocktails has an excellent breakdown on the Pousse Cafe, and you can take a link to it right there up in the corner, or we'll put it in the pin comp below for your viewing pleasure. And check him out. Bruce is a cool guy. So we're gonna make a Pousse Cafe. The thing about layering drinks is basically the 2 factors that determine whether or not things will mix and if one's gonna sit on the other is alcohol content. Higher alcohol means less water, means more high, and sugar content. More sugar means lower and whatever. Sometimes you get into a thing where like, oh, this is a higher alcohol content than this one, but it has a much higher sugar content, so it sinks. I solved that problem with trial and error. If you're David Arnold, you would solve that problem with like a little Brix meter, which is like a weird prism that you put into the drink and look at it to determine sugar content. I don't know how to do that. That's science, man. One thought, man, this is French cuisine after dinner thing. Have you ever had French cuisine? Have you ever had like a lot of French cuisine? How do you have the capacity for an after dinner anything? All that butter, Without further delay, let's make a Pousse Cafe. So we're gonna start with some of my homemade grenadine, and I'm just gonna free pour these, right?
He put the curacao much higher because I don't think it has as much.
Little blue curacao. A little Amaro Nonino. One of my favorite Amaros, Amaro de Angostura. Kind of blends with the Amaro Nonino a little bit. Gonna do a little chartreuse. And finally, a little Fernet Branca. And then, per my daughter, an umbrella, because it's, it's the rainbow after a rainy day. Pousse Cafes don't normally get served with an umbrella. I'm just honoring the commission.
Pousse Cafe.
I have no idea what drinking a Pousse Cafe alongside coffee is like, because the whole idea is that it keeps changing as you go through it. And so, I mean, for science, I have to do it all. Some of this. That is interesting. And first off, the Fernet is strong, so it robs the coffee of all of its flavor. It's nice. One of the things I noticed right away is that there's, I don't remember the layers. Oh, it's chartreuse. The Fernet and chartreuse. The chartreuse moderates the Fernet a lot. You don't only sip one layer, you're going to get a mixture of them too. That layer robbed the coffee of its flavor. So maybe Fernet is not the greatest choice, but it floats. So let's move on now. It should be chartreuse. Oh, that's actually super interesting. That brings out this really rooty, earthy flavor, almost like a sarsaparilla. That's really neat. That wakes up flavors in chartreuse I've never found before, or maybe it's new synthesized flavors between the chartreuse and coffee. It has the flavors of something that is hyper bitter, super dry bitterness, without actually the bitterness. I kind of like that. Amaro de Angostura and coffee probably now with some chartreuse. Now we're getting into like the herbal parts of the chartreuse. Man, chartreuse and coffee was slept on. I had no idea. We got to do something with that. Bartenders, Eric Castro, come up with something chartreuse and coffee. I'm telling you, pay dirt. Moving right along. That is probably a combination of Amaro de Angostura and Amaro Nonino. Bananas! Actual bananas. Immediately, as soon as the coffee hit it, it was sweet and spicy. The Angostura flavors, you know, allspice, cinnamon, and then you hit it with the coffee. Bananas. This is cool. Now I'm thinking about those articles where like, bring back Pousse Cafe, and I'm like, yeah. Now we're moving into Midori. Weird idea. I think that we still have some, oh, totally. We have a total amount of Nonino in there. We've got Nonino and Midori coming up. Okay, that's not great. Midori and coffee, not a great combo. Interesting, but no, this is just weird. Now we're getting into the real sweet stuff. We've got Midori, blue curacao, and grenadine.
Probably a reason that there's no blue.
Shockingly, that kind of just tastes like nothing. Thank you guys so much for watching Rainy Day Cocktails, Rainy Day Drinks. I hope this was interesting to you. These are drinks that I love. I don't always get around to making them because they're a little bit more involved than my day-to-day. You know what? Now that I've made them again and I've revisited these, I think I'm looking forward to the next rainy day in my near future as we as we traipse through autumn towards winter. See you guys on the next episode of HTD. Thank you so much for watching. Good night. Bye.